Hey there, beloved Ascension pioneers. So we have awaited the eclipse, the solar eclipse, the ring of fire, and the alignment with the beloved Alcyon, with the Pleiades constellation, and we all have received the new energetic upgrade. Usually people, still think that these effects should come quickly. So they think that they should feel a certain way, but what's happening is this is not a linear thing, like this event. This is a multidimensionally happening, an unfoldment, actually. This is how this multidimensionality within us is unfolding as these galactic cosmic alignments are taking place. So we are shifting within every day anyway, but it's not that this upgrade brings us, from one day to another, like this constant shift. But it's like this download, we are now being in this beta mode, this version of the program, and we are still being tested, and we are still activating all this through our being. And we are dealing with that while new things, emerge from us, and we see them, we observe them, we clear them. We're still within clearing. There's still a lot of physical symptoms. These energies are so intense, they're triggering a lot of these physical symptoms still, or maybe the way we feel in a new way. So before I start talking a bit more about this, what is a new upgraded human version supposed to be like? It's always about a new template that has to deal with you being as a self-empowered, conscious, co-creator human being. So for that, it's not like some alignment happens and then you shift within that alignment. It takes your part too. It takes your part through increasing your awareness. And as I always say, only awareness heals in a way that is lasting, that is profound, that is having to deal with wholeness, because healing is holding. And we are remembering our wholeness. We're integrating all these aspects of the soul back. We're becoming whole. And many people think this is like this thing that they have to be passive within that. Yeah, we are receiving these codes as much as we can within our awareness, because, I like to think of it as such when, for instance, I'll give you a good example. You have these spiritual events and telecommunications, what is it called? Teleconferences. When people say we're going to have an energetic transmission through this teleconference, and you can tune in and you'll receive increased energies while you tune in. And in many of these examples, you have to pay a whole lot of money to participate in that event or transmission. But it's not like that. You have to understand that we're each on our own separate part of the awareness. We're all one, but we are on all and different and individualized level of awareness. So we can only receive as much these light codes that it's appropriate to our being, that is for our highest good at this time. It's like a light bulb. If too intense current would flow through it when it's not ready, when it's, a bulb that is not made for that current, it would explode. It's the same way with us. So these things still have to be dealt with through a lot of consideration. So if you're one of those who love to join these events, you have to consider that no person that is, organizing these events can actually empower this, can actually, make this energy stronger. For instance, you might have this spiritual teacher who thinks that they're making this energy stronger. So, maybe through the ego perception, they will think that they can assist better someone that will receive more light codes if they do it through them. But it's not this way, because your being will always receive as many light codes that is appropriate for you. This is the natural law of how things correspond, how things play out in creation, because every single thing needs to be done through perfect divine order and divine timing and divine alignment. So all these divine alignments that are happening now are happening as much as our being is ready to receive and accept it. So when you have those people who are still very much in the 3D old paradigm, they won't receive as much activations that we will. They will be profoundly changed as well, because everyone's DNA is changing, but not everyone will decide for these changes to implement them in their physical, real, tangible 3D life. So this is the way of this separation that is now happening on this planet. Someone told me last week, they said, how come we feel such immense joy with all these events and everything that's unfolding and happening, and there's so many who feel that this the greatest torture and so many problems are stemming in their life, they're coming to surface, and they think of this as being so hard and are dealing with everything through the perception of hardships. And I said, it's because of this shift that is causing this separation period. We're going to live in this transition period that's going to be very noticeable for those who have the eyes, the observation to see. So There are those who will perceive this as very heavy, as very toxic, as very, like, in a way that you think of natural disasters, like catastrophes. Nothing in nature is a catastrophe. Nothing is a disaster. Human who wants to protect themselves will think of it that way, because this is very egocentric perception, because it's all about us. How will we survive on this planet? So if something happens in nature, for instance, if it ruins your habitat, you will think of it as a natural disaster, but nothing is a natural disaster. It's the same way here. It's all about awareness and perception. So we have this splitting of the awareness, of the consciousness, that is causing this duality that is only, true. It's an illusion, actually, but it's only true in the physical, tangible sense as to how we decide we were going to play our lives out. Everyone is a soul, is taking conscious decisions. For instance, I have people who ask me, I wish I could do more. um, you know you have to know that you're always where you are. You don't value yourself as to what you're doing, what you think you should be doing. You are where you're supposed to be. But don't just sit there and be passive either. It's about being active. And sometimes, I have people who say, oh, I'm thinking about dying, things like that. That's a very passive approach. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if you choose that option. But being very dramatic about it, that's something different. So you can either be dramatic about things in your life and what's happening right now, and you can get your butt off this chair sometimes, shake it up and say, hey, I'm willing to make changes, because as I serve myself, I serve others, and we're all one. So what can I do to increase my service to humanity through serving myself better, through loving myself more, through being more responsible, more conscious, more awakened every day? It's not just that this solar flares come and these galactic alignments come in and universal cycles come, and we say it's all passive, because our soul needs to decide for that. But we got to allow our soul to work through our body first, in order for us to receive these upgrades. So we can all talk about how wonderful it is within these upgrades during the shifts, how awesome it all is. But we have to do our part. We got to, make our input, our contribution. And this is what I believe these new alignments are going to cause. They're going to bring us more self-awareness into that, knowing that we are the ones who are co-creating it. So no more passiveness. No more thinking, I'll just watch these videos that Polona or some other people who are doing it, or, they're doing that, and I'll just keep watching that. I'll just keep comparing myself with that. And, one day something beautiful will happen in my life too. You are the one who's responsible for that. And you have your own beautiful sacred part within that. And these new alignments can help you with that. But you got to be conscious of it. You got to take this power back. I'll give you a great example. Within these new upgrades, what's very much under the stress here is our relationships, because relationships are basically what this 3D life is all about. Because when we are in unity in groups, when we're forming communities and, co-creating within all of that, within harmony of many, not just one, when we're cohabiting, when we are living with people, with others, when we are experiencing intimate relationships, we are experiencing the physical, the merging of souls in the physical. So I'll give you a great example. Many people still mostly ask me, well, they write me emails about relationships, about their personal stories and relationships. One more time, I will repeat, I do not give advice to people on relationships, because you have to understand this in this way of the new. What is actually an intimate relationship? An intimate relationship is between the two people. That's what it means, the word intimate relationship. So the moment you drag someone else into it, like like people like to do it in 3D, get a psychiatrist, get a marriage counselor, they think they will get someone else as a 3D objective observer. It doesn't work that way, because the moment you do that, you take away the sacredness of that relationship, which is within the two, creating the third, which is the Christed universal love between the both of you. If you allow it, if you connect your soul through your partner as well, creating the third, then the moment you do that, when you ask someone else for advice, when you draw someone else's energy into your sacred space of the two, what you do is you take away the sacredness of what it means to be fully reuniting with your presence with another through an intimate sacred relationship. A relationship is supposed to be seeking God through another, seeing yourself in the eyes, in the embrace of another, and then walking this path and trusting yourself in your own inner guidance within that relationship. What people like to do, because I speak about these things, they ask me and they say, please give me advice. I'm in this relationship. They describe all of their stories, what's going on in their lives. I'm not this marriage counselor. I'm not a relationship counselor. I'm not an intuitive, and I am an intuitive, but I don't tap into other people's life, because I'm not guided to, because it's not my mission. and I will always be guided by the divine will, and it will give me the service that I need to serve into how I serve best. And this is what it means to be empowered. So the moment you ask me for advice in your own personal story, relationship, and remember, we are not our stories, because this is the way of the old. If we tell ourselves stories about us and we associate with them so much that we think we are these stories, we are not. We are individualized I am presences walking here, remembering our divinity. That's who we are. We are individualized essences as souls, but we belong to the greater whole, which is our I am presence. So this is what we are here to remember, that and to serve within that remembrance. So the moment you will ask me or someone else about that, you will forget about your own intuitive signs, your own sacred path, the intimacy that this relationship is supposed to represent. So I'm here to give guidance to people. This general guidance is what is to be the way of the new, the way of ascension. What is the new upgrade all about? What is the conscious empowered co-creator being all about? I'm not here to give advice. Remember, this is not my mission. I feel myself, I know myself. So when we know thyself, we know why we are here. We remember. So what doesn't resonate with me, I won't do it, because I'm on the way of the new. And that's what it means to be empowered. What no longer serves you, what you feel it's not your path, what's not your, you're not, what's it called? Your rite of passage. It's not yours, so you cannot claim it. You don't feel that you want to claim it because it's not yours. It's energetically not aligned with your being. And I'm here to give you this mirror to remember your highest origin, to remember what does it mean? What do you think it means if you don't know, if you don't feel it, if you think that only I can say it? It's not about that. Question everything, even what I say. Connect to your own truth. That's what it means to be with the new upgrades, with the new template, within who we truly are. So that is divine love that is within each and every one of us, because we were all created as extensions of the great source of all that is. Nothing is not of the divine. So how can you not have all this power, all this knowing within you? I also had this example when this person wrote to me, and through my autobiography, she could have compared themselves with me. So it cannot be that way. My story can only serve as to, remind people that you are not alone. We all go through many hardships. We all go through these things in order to connect, firmly anchor in this 3D reality, to remember our divinity, and then anchor that back and activate it, integrate it into this physical state. It's not to vibrate somewhere away, it's to integrate those highest aspects of you and bring them down. That's why we're here as ground crew, or how many people like to call it. There is a reason why you're here. So don't just be dramatic or concerned about whether you're in the right path. You're always on the right path. So be more empowered, be more connected, and know that you're here for a reason. Even if you're thinking about dying, or or you're totally lost and confused, just because you're here, you matter, and you came here and you knew why you came here. But you have to remember that means connecting to your soul, give you the answer for that. So remember, new relationships, what they're about your own remembrance of the self, because new relationships are about self-harmony, self-knowing, self-peace. You cannot give something to another if you're not receiving that through your internal spirit anyway. I'll give you this great example. I used to have a lot of, when I was awakening, I had a lot of people who were very much in the old, in the drama, because I needed that in order to remember better who I am, and in a way I uplifted them. So these are all soul pacts, how we connect with others, how we decided to connect with certain particular individuals before we came here. There's many soul contracts, which are now breaking apart also, because we're walking towards the new, and there was a certain time frame that this served a purpose, but now it's kind of no longer serving it for those who are the way showers, who are the paving the way, path cutters. So this might no longer serve a purpose, but it was there for a reason. There are many people who are still within those relationships. There are even many who confuse, so many of them, because they write to me, confuse a twin flame relationship with a something that I used to read about, something described as a karmic twin flame, something like that, because it's not the same thing. A twin flame relationship is a harmonious one, because you will only merge with them physically, totally reunite, be able to reunite when you will fully know the self. Because before, it just doesn't work. It will bring up too much pain, confusion, and codependency, addiction, attachment. So many people confuse that for a karmic flame, which is a person who will totally show you what you're still working through. And they might ask me, but this is, my twin flame. Like, I can give you confirmation about who that person is to you. You have to remember to your own soul what kind of pact you have with that person. So let me explain again, back to the story. I had a lot of the relationships, a lot of people who were just not on my level of awareness. I had a lot of drama from those people. And I just always knew when it was time for me, divine timing, to leave that relationship, when the energy was exchanged to a degree that it served us both, and when it does no longer serve us, so then I left. Because, people come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I think many of you saw this, read this, or seen the video about it. And we just usually feel those things. We feel when it's over, when we really listen to ourselves. And this is a problem of most people. There are no problems, but there's a challenge. Listen to yourself. So many people will ask me things exactly because they do not yet listen and respect their own inner voice. Don't compare yourself to me or anyone else. Don't let any psychic or whoever give you advice when you're becoming an empowered, true source being of who you are. You got to walk your own path. You got to listen to your own voice. You got to become discerning. You got to honor yourself and your beliefs. Not beliefs, but inner knowings, truly. So lately, as I told you my story, I reconnected back with my beloved. And sometimes it's still challenging because there's no drama at all. It's just pure peace. So when people ask me about these situations in their own lives and their own relationships, and they might say, this is how it is. Still very drama. I feel when they describe their stories, a lot of them is still very much push and pull kind of energy within those relationships, which is not yet the way of the new, which is still learning process. So embrace the relationship as your learning mirror. It's always about the self. So what is our new empowered way of being and cohabiting in the new relationship within the new upgrade is, it's all about the self. So this is how it is with me. This new relationship is all about me and that person as total independent individuals who can share and co-create together. And that's all that is about in the new. There's no drama. There's no nothing. There's just nothing. There's just pure peace. And I have my own challenge within that because, we all have past experiences, and sometimes the mind wants to associate something with the past. So it wants to reference something as, oh, if it's not like that, how it used to be in the old, then there must be something wrong with that. This is healing. This is holding. This is remembering how it truly is supposed to be like, how we remember it through our divinity. So sometimes it's still challenging for me because there's just nothing. Nothing's wrong. Nothing is bothering me. There's nothing, just nothing. It's just pure source, pure freedom, pure love. It's all about the love. So remember, whatever it is, remember that peace is the feeling that when you remember that only love is real. Only love is real. Okay, I think this was the most important, essential thing that I have to speak, that I had to speak about, that I was guided to speak about, because relationships are so much highlighted now, especially Venus going retrograde, and Venus is going to show us now during the summer in her retrograde period that, especially also with her Venus transit happening on June 5th and 6th, it's going to show us what is true within the new, within being and coexisting with another, building these harmonic relationships. So all that is of the old in this retrograding period will have the ability to go away, but you will have to release it. And there's no other way to release it, to embrace it first fully, to admit and be honest to yourself where you still have these challenges and why. Is it coming from the, you have first 3 lower chakras that need to be spiritualized, and this is happening now during the shift. The first is physical, then you have the second, which is emotional, and the third, the plexus area, is the mental. And a lot of the clearing right now has been done in the third, with me also. Also physical symptoms, because physical level always happens and follows the last. So when you're clearing something in the other realms, then the physical will happen and follow, because it's the densest and it always heals and clears the last. So remember that. If you notice symptoms or rashes or pain or digestive things, issues, you can observe them through knowing what area it is, where it is localized, and you will know that area is dealing with the cleansing. And this is all good. This is very hard is good. And especially why so much the plexus area now? Because the plexus area is the seed of our mental empowerment. It is the last chakra before the heart chakra, which is connecting the lower chakras with the higher ones, with the higher planes. And it's like many people are still not activated into their heart yet. A lot of them live from the lower chakras still. they operate mostly from there. So there's so much cleansing in this area now, because the shift into the heart is the hardest one. All the other ones, when you're going through a Kundalini awakening, are more easier. So this one is kind of like the most difficult one. So if you're experiencing difficulties here, know that this might be due to that, or maybe some other answer that you will get yourself. Don't let me answer all these questions, because you are an individual, and you have to remember that only you can, you can draw forth from many things, many sources, but make your own decision as to what feels right within your own inner guidance. It's like you have pieces of the puzzle, but you must glue them back together on your own. You must connect the dots on your own. So this is it. We're becoming more empowered, and not just through our mind setting, thinking that we're going to become more empowered and acting and waiting for this great something to happen, but truly being honest with ourselves and knowing when it's time to step back into our real role as conscious human co-creator beings who are self-responsible. So when we're self-responsible, we're also responsible for others and a relationship. So I cannot be responsible for your relationship, for giving advice, because remember, when another gives you an advice, they are energetically linked into that. So I become partially responsible for your relationship when I give you advice. It doesn't work that way. Not with me, because I'm empowered to that degree that I know that. It's all about the awareness, remember. So for those of you who might get a certain answer from me that you might not like, remember, you will get the answer that you need to hear, because I'm all about the empowerment. And remember, at the end, you'll be grateful for it, because you've given yourself the gift of empowerment. And for all those who have been giving me, again, expressing gratitude for my videos and postings on my Facebook page or my webpage, thank you so much. And I just replied to someone today who said, every time I go to your page, I become more uplifted, more, happy, more in flow. How do you do that? And I said, I didn't do anything. I just hold the space. I hold the space of truth of one, and I hold the space of divine remembrance, which is divine love that we are. And when you connect to that, you do it. So thank yourself. Pat yourself on the shoulder. Give yourself the warm hug that you deserve. It's all about you. Every relationship, it's about you. It's how it is with me now in this new relationship. It's about me. And it's about creating the third within the two, which is the Christed universal love. This is what we are here to remember. This is our greater path. This is the path of I am, the Christed consciousness that is emerging now again fully in this planet. First through the way shores, and then who knows what's the next step. Also, if you want, subscribe to my webpage, ascensionpioneers.org. Remember, if you see any weird images on that are not on my page, because remember, I had an old page which was held by someone who was not within the light. So I have to apologize. This is not from me. I just was reminded from a sister of light that there's this weird image, kind of very rude and nasty. So she also gave me a great message, which I can now pay forward to all of you. She said that Doreen Virtue, you all probably know her, is this great angelic lady, teaches about angels, that Doreen taught her about when to walk away. She said, if you always feel just a slight of resistance, of doubt, feeling weird, kind of anxious, or if someone is being rude to you, or very even vulgar sometimes, very nasty responses, know that is dark energy working behind it. So just know to walk away. Don't give it power. Don't feed it power. And I've noticed this myself. With these individuals who will try to dramatize and draw our energy, which is sometimes people call them energy vampires, they will do that, especially with the people who are very much within the light and love. They'll have their hearts expanded and open towards everyone. So what they'll try to do, they'll try to push for attention. They'll try to draw your attention, to try to get you on the old. Whenever you still function on the old, you will do that. You will make the old steps all over again. So they try to do that. They try to draw your attention, sometimes even with nasty things. And when you don't even give them a slight of the attention, they'll be even more angry, even more, And anger, I've just heard that last week, anger always turns to hate, which is true. And remember, there's still a lot of people who are within this old, who have not yet remembered who they are, who will blame others and blame of another. Our beautiful sister Be Divine just said this in her last video, Domino Angels. She said that those who blame and actually resent others really resent themselves, which is true. Everything is a mirror, because micro, macro, remember, it's all the same. We're all within this holographic universe. We're all one, but yeah, this is our path. It's supposed to be individualized and unique and our own. We have to claim it first. Remember that. This is what this upgrade is all about. So it's not just about how many new spiritual abilities you will possess. It's about extending you and expanding you even greater into your being, that it's all about serving through love. That's what it's about. So remember, wanting more spiritual abilities, wanting to have more, knowledge, and it's all from the ego. Knowing how to serve through the heart is the way of the new, and this is what this new upgrade is about. So anyway, beautiful brothers and sisters of light, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Maybe speak about some other aspects of this upgrade. Take care. Bye.